Hey guys, welcome to Friday Night Live for Friday, May the 5th? 25th. I'll do that again.
No one showed up because they got told the wrong day.
Hey guys, welcome to Friday Night Live for Friday, May the 25th. The safe word for today is Carl, and Dominic's not in this one because he's behind the monitors where he should be. Stay over there, buddy. Hey guys, welcome to Friday Night Live for Friday, May the 25th. We got someone else to do it? Carl, come here. You gotta stand behind that white, yeah, in that box.
Okay. Hey guys, we're here for Friday Night Live for...
See, it's not easy, is it?
Hey guys, we're here for another Friday Night Live. It's Friday the 25th of May, 2018. I think that's the right year.
And the safe word is?
And the safe word is Carl. Thank you.
We don't have any questions because we were relying on the studio audience to ask for questions.
So that wraps up this show.
Say hi to your mum for me.
I did have a question to ask. Going into winter, how am I supposed to prep my car? Because I'm pretty damn lazy, to be honest.
That's actually an important question. It's a good question. So what you want to do during winter is protection, right? Because you're not going to wash it as often. Let's be honest. You probably will not wash it every week. You'll wash it every 2 weeks. I wash my car in winter every month. I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty lazy in winter and I'm busy doing other people's cars. So I don't wash it as, yeah, it's cold and you just don't want to do it as often. I wash it in summer every 2-3 weeks. So anyway, what you want to do is get as much protection on it as possible. You probably want to decontaminate it, and you can use the eraser to decontaminate it without removing much of your FMJ. You got FMJ on your car, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you erase your car lightly, you will remove next to no FMJ, and it's a good thing to do. Just a real quick erase, because what that'll do is it'll take the contamination off, it'll make it smoother, and those self-cleaning characteristics will be increased. They'll be closer to what they were when the FMJ went on it new.
So for somebody who doesn't do this every day like you do,
Yeah.
where you refer to a light eraser on it,
Yeah.
so I'll be using the Velvet Revolver for this. What is a light eraser? What is
Sorry, yeah, so
taking it
just
off?
don't go real nuts, don't try and erase it like you're gonna prepare it for a detail. You're just gonna smooth it off a little bit. As you use the eraser on a surface that's been FMJ'd, even if the FMJ coating's about a year old, which isn't that old for FMJ, as you know, your mate Kukulis, I think he said he's got close to 5 years out of a coat of FMJ, which is a long time. Not many people see 5 years, but that's what you can see if you look after the coating. And this is one of the things that you can do to look after the coating, right? So if you just go over it with the eraser, even by hand, and just smoothen it off a little bit, those contaminants that are on top of the surface, if you take them off, you'll notice that performance come back to FMJ and it'll stay cleaner for longer. So if you're not going to wash it every week in the winter, and let's be honest, a lot of us won't be that careful with the car during winter. It's hard, it's cold, you don't want to go outside and wash the car as often. So if you do that, you'll get those self-cleaning benefits, not back because you should have them, but you'll improve them, they'll be amplified, and it'll keep the car cleaner for longer. So that's one of the things that you can do. The other thing you can do is when you do wash it, take the time to put a coat of FMJ spray wax on it, because that'll help it again. Yeah, those two things are probably the most important thing, but concentrate on protection during winter. I think that you should put FMJ on at the start of winter, which is not what happens. So that's not what happens, right, here at FI? No. Our busiest time is summer. So summer comes along, the nice weather comes out, that's when people detail their cars, which is, to me, it doesn't make any sense. You should detail your cars before winter to prepare them for the time when the car's gonna get hit the hardest, right? Yeah, you agree or you don't agree? Obviously people don't agree. So if you say no, you're not wrong, because most people don't. Most people bring their cars in at summer, just before summer, end of spring, start of summer.
The theory of it makes sense. It's just that when you're starting to want it to look at its best is when you've spent 4 or 5 months with it not looking at its best.
Okay, yeah. I like doing it in winter. That could be because I have the time to do it in winter, because business slows down a little bit in winter. Generally around May, which is now, is the quiet time. So that's when my car sometimes comes in for a spruce. But if I wasn't going to do that, which I didn't do last year I didn't get my car cleaned or detailed. It's been we detailed my car recently, but then it was 2 years or something before before then. Oh, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. It was about 2 years, maybe 3 years that I didn't detail the car, which is not good. Sorry?
Are you saying that I shouldn't buy one of those car tents that suction mount to the roof and
I
hook
saw
over
that.
the wing mirrors that I saw in a YouTube video recently?
Shouldn't comment on another company's product, but we haven't mentioned the company. I would advise against putting a glazier's cup with essentially a parachute on it on your roof. I saw some kind of elastic thing
there were
that
straps all down the side.
oh man, I could just see a lot of mechanical damage where it's rubbing, and you pull that off after winter and you go, oh my god, the amount of Did you see the XR8? What was his name? He's a nice guy, Eddie had the gold FG XR8. Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Victory Gold?
It was.
Yeah, really nice car, nice colour. That was destroyed by car cover and he only had it on, a couple of weeks? And I think it may have even been indoors. So a little bit of moisture got trapped in it. So it doesn't take much.
I think it was undercover.
It was undercover,
I think it was outside, but undercover.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
anything that is on top of a car that's going to rub on a car and cause that kind of mechanical damage, any friction to me is wrong.
If your car is indoors
Yeah.
or undercover, and the only issue you have is dust,
Yeah.
what's the best way to clean your car? Do I need to do a full wash and dry to remove the dust, or is it going to be a quick and easy way
No,
to do it?
good question. You may need to do a full wash to remove it all. I find if you've got a car like yours that's in good nick, it's got FMJ on it, and it hasn't been, hasn't got 4 to 5 months of dust on it, honestly, an air compressor will remove most, if not all of that, good enough for you to drive it away and go, that looks clean. That is clean, right? The good thing about it, removing dust with an air compressor is completely non-abrasive. You don't do any damage. If you remove it with a duster, like a paraffin-loaded duster or something, you're transferring paraffin to the surface, which is not good. You get some smears and things like that. That chemical's not good. It's not good for you to come in contact with. You're having to buy something else, and usually you have some mechanical action, and while the damage will be very, very minimal, you're damaging it because you're rubbing two surfaces together. If you use an air compressor, you get rid of it. And to me, an air compressor is not something I buy for detailing. I put an air compressor in my garage for all this other stuff, and it comes in handy for detailing. So it's not really a tool I bought for detailing at home. It's to pump up balls and pump up tires and things. It's up for other things, and I just happen to use it to dry the car properly after washes and get dust off the car. Yeah. No, but really good question. But if you leave it for about a month and you're really fussy, an air compressor won't do it. So you can use the air compressor to get all the dust off, but it still leaves a thin film that just hasn't come off. Then you might need to actually go and wash the car. Sometimes just doing the glass is enough. So if you get all the dust off and then just clean the glass with a glass system, doing that will do no damage. The glass is just too hard for a nanofiber cloth to do any damage with that kind of amount of dust. That's it, and you've got a nice clean car. If you want to go the whole hog, just give it a wash. I recommend, if you're going to do that though, give it an air compressor first to get most of that stuff off, then give it a wash, and you'll do next to no damage. Yeah, insignificant amount of damage. Good question.
I don't know if this has been answered before. There's
Yeah.
something I want to kind of clarify. So with the curvy lady, when you're putting it back on your window,
Yeah.
a lot of people have said, "Oh no, you've blown dirt back all over the car."
Yeah. Well, you got to rinse it away from the car as well. Yeah.
Obviously, they don't understand, and that's why I want to clarify: is it actually doing anything, or
Actually cleaning the mitt.
yeah?
Yeah, of course you're cleaning the mitt because you're showering it. You're not dipping it in a bucket. Well, it depends how else you were going to clean the mitt. So what was their way of cleaning the mitt?
So
Dipping
obviously,
into a bucket?
putting on your wiper and hosing it down, but you're blowing, say, your car's pretty dirty, you're blowing mud
Yeah.
and all that back onto the paint
Yeah.
itself, and then
Well then you go and rinse that off the
Yeah.
rest of the car. So usually it goes over the hood, over the roof, and then I go and just rinse that off.
Yeah.
Usually I rinse the mitt on the windscreen wiper at both sides, then I go and wash the car, and then when I put it back on the wiper arm to rinse it again, I actually have to take the soap off the car anyway because it's drying. So what I do is I rinse the mitt, then I rinse all the soap off the car. So any particles that came out of the mitt are then rinsed off it. They might have gone onto the car, yes, that's true, and then rinse off it. When we say put the mitt on the wiper arm, that's just a suggestion. You can put it anywhere. And we do say if you're lucky enough to have a car with a rear wiper arm, to put on the rear wiper arm, because you'll have less of that. You won't spread the particles out so much. But still, even if you did that, you're still far better off than putting into a bucket, because the bucket is not only collecting the particles that you just got rid of out of the mitt, it's collecting all the particles you ever collected on that car. And they're in the mitt. And if you use a grit separator, which is supposed to keep them under the grit separator, that doesn't work. It comes back up into the mitt. You can do whatever you can do whatever you like. But if you're lucky enough to have it somewhere else, hang it up on I saw a guy in his garage who's just a bit crazy. He's got a stainless steel plate on the wall, and he's got like a clip, like an industrial clip, and he puts his mitt in the industrial clip and then rinses it there. So the mitt isn't on the car. I don't even go to that. I just put it on the wiper arm and then and then rinse it there. But when I rinse, it's a good question. When you rinse the particles off, rinse the rest of the car off and the rest of that soap off, so you're not allowing it to dry. Yeah. Soap drying on a car is bad. One more reason, I shouldn't mention it because you said you don't want to hear about this over and over again, but another reason why you shouldn't have foam on a car. Foam sitting on a car just with the water evaporating and the raw ingredients that are in that foam product just etching into the thing is bad. So you shouldn't have foam on or soap on a car longer than you need to. And generally when I wash my car, it's a kind of large car. What do you got the Falcon, haven't you? Yeah, it's kind of a big car. So if the mitt's dirty enough for you to rinse it out on the windscreen wiper, rinse the rest of the soap off the car that you've just washed, and you'll rinse those particles away as well. Yeah. A good question though.
Thank you.
Yeah. Got another one? Because that was a good one.
I think this other one's already been answered before, but
that's all right. Let's hit it.
Snow foam.
Snow foam. Yeah. No, snow foam's bad. Yeah.
What exactly does it do? Because I
don't know.
Damages.
I don't know. There's claims that it helps clean the car better than just washing the car on its own. That's not true. Yeah. I've asked companies. I said, can you show me with science what it does and how it does what you're claiming it does? And they either don't answer me or they just say we can't provide what you want, but it just does what it does, which is nonsense. I need data to tell me what it does. Which chemical is doing the cleaning? Which chemical is breaking things down and softening things? And they can't tell me. And I say, well, does SLS prematurely wear your paint protection? And they say no, which is a lie. And the other ones don't answer. That's what snow foam does. It wears your paint protection down faster than it should. You don't need that aggressive chemical there. It removes moisture from any soft rubbers that are essentially sealing. If you've got soft rubbers on your car, they're there to do a job, which is to seal. And what that does is it makes them go hard and crack, and it stops them from doing their job earlier than they otherwise would, right? And that's the whole point of using pH neutral shampoos. There was this one company that was using pH neutral shampoos, and then they had a snow foam just before it. So they're undoing all the good of their shampoo. Actually made a good quality shampoo. It was pH neutral anyway, which is good. But then they undid it with this really, really aggressive chemical at the start of the process. And they introduced that fairly recently, like 2 years ago. I think they just couldn't help to see that they weren't making money from a snow foam, which these products make money. They're a fad, and if final inspection introduced snow foam right now, it would sell really, really well and we'd make more money. It's actually hard, it's hard sometimes to say, yeah, we shouldn't do that, because that's wrong and we shouldn't do that and not take that extra money. But it just doesn't work. It's not right for me. I can't tell you to do that and say that it works because it doesn't. It's a lie. For me personally, I am this company, it's a family company, and when I tell you to use something and do something, it's because it functions, it works, it provides you with something useful. I won't sell you something that won't do what it's intended to do. And if you're practicing car care, which is what our company does, we sell car care products, foam doesn't fit into car care. It can fit into something to do with cars, but not car care. Yeah.
I think from people that I've spoken to, snow foam, you talk about the negatives of snow foam, and they go, but I wash my car and it looks fine, and my seals are still working and the bumper hasn't fallen off, so everything's fine. Yeah. But I think you don't have to service your car either, right? So I knew a guy who worked at Cadbury. They had a bunch of, I think it was Toyota Echoes or something at that time, and a few of them for some reason weren't serviced, and they had done 55,000 Ks of the service. Those cars were working fine. They started, they ran, everything was fine. The engines weren't falling apart. They ended up getting a service, they were fine, but there's damage there, right? Yeah? And I think, that's what I suppose, let me just cut out
look, and
stumbling over ends.
Yeah, it's hard for you to see some things unless it happens long term. But mechanics tell me all the time. Mechanics go, these chemicals that are on the brakes, they rust stuff shut. If people come in, they've got squealy brakes, or their car's pulling to the left because one of the calipers is constantly kind of on, kind of grabbing. When they pull them apart, show me, there's all rusted stuff that's fused together. That's corrosive chemicals that are doing that. There's nothing else really that can do that. That's when you're washing your car and using corrosive chemicals, they go in the brake components, they rust anything that's not coated that's metal, and it essentially rusts it shut, right? And this happens over a long time. It might be 60, 70,000 Ks for do this, and some people might not even notice it. Some people just might. I drive some cars sometimes, I go, this is a piece of shit. It's pulling to the right, it's doing this. Can't you hear that diff knock? They can't hear. Sometimes it's those people saying, I can't see it, so therefore it's not there. We've been doing this 20 years, we know what we're talking about, we scrutinise things down to, and we can see that damage. We should probably just make a snow foam, Dom. Just make a snow foam and sell it. Let's just do it.
You missed April Fool's Day.
The other thing I was told was that snow foam helps with lubrication. So when you put your mitt down, it helps you stop scratching the surface because you've got a lot of foam there, protects. But you can do a simple test where you just get a bunch of foam, right? Even dishwashing liquid, make it foam up, and just get a piece of paper and rest it on the foam, and just that 1 gram of energy going down will just collapse that foam, and then it hits the bottom. If you get something thick, like say PPBS, but even something similar, like an organic fat of some kind, and put on, and you'll see it won't compress that much. And you have that layer of protection in between it. So that's just another thing about snow foam, is like you were asking the benefits of snow foam. One of the spruiked benefits is that it helps avoid swirling because it gives you some suspension. You've got a lot of foam between your mitt and your panel, but foam just collapses. It's just a bunch of air that collapses with very little pressure. You need something that's actually thick, that's going to take that, that's going to provide you some suspension to avoid that damage. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sorry if I get a bit angry. No, that's a really, really good question. So why don't we do that again? So Chantal, what is your question? Chantal, come on down.
How would you ask it exactly?
No, it was done actually really well.
Well,
It's just that we went into a long rant.
okay.
Go for it.
Engine bay cleaning.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
No, honestly, really good question. We refuse to do them here because they're so iffy. And we refuse to do them because if we did them the way customers would want us to do them, to be within budget, we'd have to use high pressure and things like that to get them done in time, right? In an hour or two. So we don't want to use high pressure, so we just don't do them. But when we do them, with a few times that we do them, like the F40 and things like that, you can't. The F40 is a good example because you can see the engine from the outside of the car. So if the engine's dirty and you've detailed the outside of the car, it still doesn't look right. You need to do the engine. Normal cars, you just close the bonnet, you can't really see the engine. It's not part of an exterior detail, right? So take the F40 for instance, we had to do it. So what we did was we used low pressure water so that it wouldn't interfere with anything. And we used water in a spray bottle. And so we sprayed Jaffa or whatever chemical we wanted to use to attack that particular compound. If it's like an oil or greasy kind of material you're trying to break down, use a citrus degreaser like Jaffa because that'll break it down best. If you've got carbon on exhaust tips, use power wheel cleaner, that'll break it down, or try, mix up a few different things. If it's just general light dust and things, like mine, I clean my engine bay every 3-4 months. I just use body shampoo. It's mostly plastic and it's just dust on the plastic. I just wash it with body shampoo. And I use high pressure on my car because I know my car. I know that it won't leak because it's a Lexus. But yeah, just use mains pressure water. Mains pressure is about 80 PSI instead of 300, 500, 1,000 PSI that you'll get out of even a domestic high pressure cleaner. Use mains water, or if you really want to be nuts, you don't really have to do this. If you really want to be nuts, use a pressure pack, like a empty FI spray pack full of water, and just literally just attack small areas and clean it that way. But really good question. You should clean it. Engine bay should be cleaned often, and they're kind of easy to do if you stay on top of them. Sorry? You'd never clean it?
I never, until I discovered it.
Yeah.
Pretty dirty.
Yeah. And Ford's a bad one actually. Yeah, because we did a few of them, and I think it was ABS modules, Bosch ABS modules.
Yeah.
They were going $2,500 a pop. Range Rovers are really bad. Range Rover fuse boxes are not sealed. Like sometimes you'll get a really expensive car and you'll look, me and Dom do it all the time. We often get expensive cars in here and we look at them and go, how do they get away with this crap? This is so poorly done. It's not sealed. Oh, this is a problem just waiting to happen. And you just don't want that issue in your engine bay, especially if your car's out of warranty, right? Yeah, so if you get water in somewhere, you go to the dealer, it's your fault. So you've got to be really careful, but you kind of got to keep it clean. So yeah, just low pressure so you're not filling things full of, seals that maybe couldn't take that pressure. They're just not going to allow water to come in and you're safe that way. And bag something, if you think something is not going to be right, like if there's whatever it is there, like back in the day we used to bag distributors and stuff, you don't have any of that now, but if you're not sure, just put a plastic bag over it, tie it up, and you haven't got water in that area if you're really worried about that, yeah.
So what Damian meant to say was, buy a Tesla, then there is no engine bay. Yeah.
Well, I know, water and batteries.
Well, it could be bad.
I suppose you're not cleaning an engine, are you?
You're not wetting the batteries.
We haven't had a Tesla on the show.
We haven't.
Who's got one?
That's the only car we agree 100% on. The only car me and Dom agree 100% on is a Tesla. And we still haven't had one on the show.
Is Dom not a fan of the Lexus?
Dom's not a Lexus fan at all. Huge Tesla fan though, huge Tesla fanboy. If you think I'm a fan of Tesla, you haven't seen Dom yet.
I think I converted him more to the dark side.
More questions? You got another question? Yeah.
Old paint. We're talking not 2-3 years old, talking 30-40 years old.
Yeah. You want to mention the car in particular?
No, just general old
just
cars.
Old paint, yeah.
So
because it kind of does matter where it's from. Like if it's English, Italian, French, German, like a 40-year-old German car, not really any issue. Usually, if they've been maintained well. A 40-year-old English car, a 40-year-old Italian car, 40-year-old Japanese car, no problem.
So let's talk Italian/English.
Italian/English. What's he got? It's being very cryptic.
What have I got? I got 1,000-old minis.
Yeah, but that's English.
That's why I said.
What have you got that's Italian/English?
Italian/English.
Where's the Italian?
Well, you were saying that they were very similar.
Okay. So it's a mini. All right. So you've got a 40-year-old mini.
40-year-old mini, 40-year-old paint.
Yeah. And you want to preserve the paint?
I want to preserve the paint so that I'm not needing to put new paint on it.
For that reason?
But I haven't had the car for all of those 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's average. But I don't want it to get worse than what it is.
Yeah.
I know that it's not going to get better, but I don't want it to disappear.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'd do to it if it was my car is I'd not hit it hard with anything. So no high pressure, no buff. I know it sounds crazy, but I wouldn't do any buffing unless it's really, really light, really gentle buff. Because I think it's the mechanical action of, like pounding a buff on that panel, on that surface that can start to create an issue. If there's a little bit of delamination there, but you can't see a little bit of rust between the paint and the panel, and you are very gentle with it, it can be fine, it can last years. But then if you hit it with a buff, you can just start to create an issue where you're forced to repaint the panel. All right, so I wouldn't do any of that, but I do some eraser work, especially by hand, and I get some protection on it.
Okay, so some of the steps
Yeah.
of a new car, just not the high impact stuff.
That's pretty much all we do to a new car. So when we get a new car in here, our new car service is all the preparation, no buffing, and then protection. So it's really like a new car. You treat it like a new car in that sense. But you're just trying to avoid. I'd have to see the paint. If I saw the paint and did a couple of quick tests, I'd know whether or not you could buff it or not. Sometimes 40-year-old cars are just so well maintained that you can bring them up, and you should. If they're oxidized, I think if paint's oxidized, you should remove the oxidization, and it'll make it last longer, and then seal it.
So that's where I need to take advantage of your free inspection service.
It's a smarty. Yes, you can. Yeah, bring it in and we'll have a look at it and I'll let you know. Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, he's going to ask if it's an on-site.
No.
I'll leave it at that one. I'm not pushing my luck.
No, bring it in. We'll have a look at it. Yeah, no, if I see it, then I'm able to better understand whether or not you can do a little more to make it look better or maybe even make it better. And if a car's heavily oxidized, you've got to remove it. But you might not do that if you took my advice and said, well, I don't want to hit it with a buff or any compound. You can do some compounding by hand. You can put cap heavy, for instance, on by hand. It does a really good job by hand. Only do it by hand if there's a reason to do it by hand, because it just takes so long, and you'll go through more product, etc. But yeah, but even random orbitals, they shake the panels up a little bit. You don't want to do that kind of stuff to paint that might be loose.
Okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
some of the way along, yeah.
Awesome. Good.
More than what I knew to start with, so.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Old rubber and old glass, similar sort of story.
Our glass is easy. You can go to town on glass. Yeah.
Doesn't really change over time.
No. In fact, every time we do hard work to glass, it's always an old car. So it's got scratches, it's got deep water marks, things like that. It's almost always an old car that we really go hard on glass. And the only thing with glass is that where it's fixed. So with an old car like a Mini, I'd be worried about putting pressure on the glass, not because the glass is going to break, but it's going to just push through its fixings. That's the thing that you got to worry about the most. But generally, yeah, glass is fine. Just go nuts on glass. You can use quadruple zero grade steel wool. That's a good one, and it has to be quadruple zero grade. It can't be 000. It has to be 40 grade steel wool. Otherwise, you'll scratch the glass. But a quadruple zero grade steel wool is beautiful on glass. It doesn't leave any marks, and it cleans it very, very well. You can use, if you've got the glass off the car, or you're really careful, you can use serum oxide if you really understand the product. It does wonders on glass, but it's a dangerous chemical, and if you're not sure how to use it, don't. But it's an option if you want to research it and really research it. Make sure you're looking after yourself, and make sure it doesn't drip down anywhere it's not supposed to, because it'll do nasty things to anything that's not glass. You can use an eraser for surface contamination just to make it smooth. That always works well. Erasing glass is huge bang for buck. It takes no time to do. You can't mar it because it's so hard. You can't do anything. You almost can't push too hard or do anything to it to damage it. So erase the glass. It makes it smooth and better. Just 2 seconds, and you'd have the eraser anyway, right? Yeah. So definitely do that, and then put protection on it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. FMJ spray wax especially. It'll be slicker, so it'll go up and down through the felt rug or tracks or whatever it's got at the bottom. What did the 40-year-old Mini have? They had felt.
Sliding windows.
Oh, it's a slide?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Some good 40-year-old felt that I think fell out on the highway 35 years ago. But
On the way home from the dealership.
On the way home from the dealership.
English cars, they made some good cars, but unfortunately most of them not known for their build quality in terms of longevity. 40 years ago wasn't that long ago either.
No, I redid the math.
Is it? Yeah. Yeah, Minis I was thinking, because 40 years is when I was born.
Yeah.
I think they'd stopped making them. No, they didn't.
You're
no.
only 40.
I'm 40, yeah.
Is that all?
I'm actually not even 40, almost 40.
Okay.
I'm thinking that's late 70s, that's not that old. While Josh is thinking, Josh is over there going, that's fucking old. 70s. Am I the oldest one here? I'm the oldest one here.
Yep.
Shit. All right. How the times have changed.
That's all point and laugh now.
We're done?
I think so.
Oh, it was a good run.
Yeah.
I think we got enough there. Oh, you got more questions? What's the date again? It's May the 25th.
44 minutes.
45 minutes?
That's a big one.
That's a good 15 minutes.
Yep. That's a
Abusable.
7-minute episode.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Chantal. That's it for Friday night. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. And thank you, Dom. That was beautiful without you here. Yeah, you should stay behind the monitors there.
Thank you, Dom, for the pizza.
Oh, did you? No one even had any pizza. That's because I bagged it out before. You shouldn't bag the food you're about to serve people. Can I just do my sign off?
No, you're not allowed to do it anymore. He's back on TV and he uses it.
Oh no, just meant to sign out of the thing.
Oh, okay.
Jesus.
Sorry. It's all right. Yeah. I saw it last...
Should I just steal it?
No, I saw the last minute last night and he did say hi to your mum for me. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch that rubbish. Oh, sorry for holding you up.
That's it for Friday Night Live for Friday, May the 25th, 2018. Thank you very much, guys. Say hi to your mum for me. And done.